Hi there, welcome to That Board Game Show. My name is James Wood, and today I'm going to show you Lewis and Clark, The Expedition. A historical race game designed by Cédrick Chaboussit with art by Vincent Dutrait and published by Ludonaute. On April 30th, 1803, the United States of America purchased the Louisiana territory from Napoleon for $15 million. At which point Thomas Jefferson sent out two explorers, Meriwether Lewis and William Clark, to explore the as yet unknown territories that they had just purchased. The Lewis and Clark expedition, which lasted from 1804 to 1806, was the first American expedition to explore what is now the western portion of the United States. Now, in this game, we are pretending that instead of Jefferson only sending out two explorers, Lewis and Clark, he sent out several explorers, and he told them to all race to get to the western coast of the United States. So that is what we will be doing in this game. You will be racing the other players, going along the river, then up through the Rocky Mountains, and then out into Fort Clatsop over here. And the first person to make camp, you'll understand what that means as we play, past Fort Clatsop will win the game. Now today I'm going to be showing you the solo game of Lewis and Clark. And in the solo game, instead of competing against other players to get to Fort Clatsop, I will be racing Alexander Mackenzie, who historically was a Scottish explorer who explored the western United States in 1789, well before Lewis and Clark went on their expedition. So I will be racing in his footsteps, trying my best to keep up with him, and if possible, get to Fort Clatsop before he does, and win the game. Failing which, you lose the game. So it's a very simple win-lose. There are no points in this game. You're not keeping track of anything like that. It is simply get resources, use those resources, race across the river, and get to the end of the track. So, how do you do that? You do that with a very clever multi-use card system. So at the start of the game, each player is going to be given a hand of 6 cards. All of the players' cards are the same, we just have different colors, and the illustrations and characters that you have are slightly different from one color to the next. But functionally, they all do the same thing. And you're going to be, on your turn, either playing a card for its action, which you have to power up with another card, like so. You'll see how all this works as I start playing. Or you can take one of your Native American friends and send them into the village here to gather resources and convert those resources to the goods you need to get along the river and through the mountains. And you will see that every single character has a name at the bottom. So in my starting hand here, I have Nathaniel Pryor, George Gibson, Patrick Gass, I think that's a G, John Coulter, Peter Weiser, that's an E, Peter Weiser, and William Bratton. Okay, so those are my starting characters. And then every single character in this big old deck of cards over here also is named, and they are all accurately historical characters, which are all explained in the rulebook here. If we flip to the back of the rulebook, you'll see over here, all of the cards are numbered. There's the solo variant rules. And they give you the story and the historical backstory of each of those characters. Just a little bit of history and then the character's name and what they did. So that will also explain how the different cards work. So this is a little bit of a deck building type of game, but it's mainly a hand building game, and you'll see how all of that works as I start playing. So I think the best way for me to explain the nitty-gritty is to dive in and start the game. So on my first turn, I have a choice to make. I have to decide what I'm going to do with my hand of cards. So let's go over the basic actions first. These ones are all the same, they just give you different resources. So he will give you lumber, he will give you food, he will give you furs, and he will give you equipment. And every player you will see starts here in St. Louis. If there are multiple human players, each player would have one of these little camp markers to indicate that your camp is currently situated there. And these two move independently. Again, you'll see how that works shortly. So if I wanted to play one of these cards, I would get a certain number of resources based on the number of these symbols that are visible. Then we have two special characters. Each player has the same special characters. Your expedition leader allows you to spend food, boats, or horses in order to move through the river or mountains. And then your tracker over here allows you to go recruit the locals to help you out along your expedition in the middle of the board over here. And before I actually start playing, I need to give myself my starting resources. Each player gets one food, one equipment, and one fur to start the game. And you put those on your boats down here. And this represents your flotilla of boats that you're carrying all your goods along the river in. And it will determine certain things when you go to make camp. So let's play out one full day and you will see how it works. I think the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to play my expedition leader along with this card. Now you'll see why momentarily. You always have to power a card either with another card, or you see they have these symbols over here which correspond to your Native American helpers. And each card has those symbols on the back of them. You can also use their workers, each player starts with one, to either boost an action, so now I would do this action twice, or you can do it by playing a card, without another card and simply send a worker along with that card to do that action. Basically signifying that you can't do anything just as one person. You always have to have some level of assistance. Because it was not easy expeditioning through the unknown West back in the day. Although I imagine it's still not particularly easy, but a lot easier now than it was then. Okay, so let's do that. We'll play those two cards. And I will now spend one of my food over here, which will allow me to move 2 along the river. So I will move my little person 1, 2 along the river. Was that a strategically smart move? Probably not, but I just want to show you how everything works. That is the end of my first turn. Now, you always have to do one mandatory action on your turn, being play a card with another card to power it up, or with a helper from your board, or place a helper out on the board and get one of the actions. So the actions are very simple. You know, if I come here, I get a food and a fur. If I come here, I get an equipment and a wood, and so on around the board. Where you see a closed circle like this, only one marker can be there. And where you see a half moon symbol like this, any number can be there. So you can either send multiple characters there at the same time to do that action multiple times, or I can go there and then later on another player can go there as well. So let's see, that is to spend wood and get a boat. And you'll see if I had a boat, I could have moved 4 along the river instead of just 2. Over here, you can spend 3 different resources to get a horse, and a horse is the way that you can use this card to move through the mountains. What else can we do? This one here allows you to spend a food and then use the face-up ability of any already played character, your own or your neighbor's if you're playing a multiplayer game. This space allows you to spend 3 wood and get one of these additions to your core of discovery. So you would take one of these tiles, and now you see I have more room to hold workers. Or I can flip it to that side and have even more room, but at a cost. Or you can take this tile, which you plug on this side, and it gives you more storage to carry more stuff in your boats. And it too is double-sided with a penalty on the other side. Well, not really a penalty, just a cost for carrying all that stuff. Then this one over here allows you to remove 3 cards from your hand from the game and remove all the characters on the side here from the game. So that's a Pretty useful action to do later in the game as you've been getting more and more cards. Because now, before my turn is finished, there is an optional action that you can do, which is to recruit one of the people off to the side here. And the cost is different depending on where they are located. So you'll see they have a 1, 1, 1, or 2, or sometimes 3, some of them go up to 3, printed on the card, and that fits underneath the equipment cost over here. So this character over here costs 1 equipment and 1 fur to recruit. So I have 1 and 1, so I'd be able to recruit them. This character I could recruit right now. In fact, I could recruit this one right now if I had the resources for it. So you don't have to recruit them top to bottom. They just get more expensive the further along they are. And as you recruit characters, you remove them, slide them down, and replenish new ones from the deck. I need to learn what this guy does. So let's see what is your name? Kuskala. Kuskala, what do you do? Kuskala? I don't quite understand that symbol, so let's see. You are number 14. So I'll look in the book. Kuskala, a Clatsop chief. He expects to trade goods with the expedition during the winter at Fort Clatsop. He gives presents and offers women to Lewis and Clark. For each strength that activates this card, pay 1 horse and take into your hand a character card you choose from the Journal of Encounters. Then refill the journal in the order drawn. Oh, okay, he's fun, but he does cost you a horse to do so. So what that means, this here is referred to as the Journal of Encounters, because these are the people that we will encounter on our expedition. So he lets you spend a horse and take any character from this Journal of Encounters, which could prove incredibly useful if there's someone further up here. Like, for instance, this guy over here lets you pay 3 lumber and move 4 along the river, which is technically more expensive than paying 2 lumber and getting a boat, but it's more immediate, and it gives you multiple movements. So as you can see here, this is the only character I currently have that allows me to move. So I won't be moving any further until I rest, and then you'll see what resting does. Well, make camp, they call it, and how that works a bit later. So why not? I will recruit this one for now, so you can see how that works. I will pay 1 equipment and 1 fur, and he comes straight into my hand. We replenish the Journal of Encounters over here, and this all slides down, and we reveal a new one from the deck. And you'll see I've put these little markers on the board here because there is actually space on the board here, 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 and here to have all of these resources on the board itself. So if you're a little bit tight on space, if you're playing on a smaller table and you need room for everyone's boards and cards and everything, you can store all of this on the board itself in their little designated spots. But I've just got it all off to the side so that we can enjoy completely the lovely Vincent Dutrait artwork that is spread out before us here. Okay, so that was the end of my first turn. I did 1 mandatory action and I did an optional action, which was to recruit a character. Now at the end of every turn I take, Alexander Mackenzie will move forward 1 step. Boop. As you can see, a player can move forward very quickly with 1 turn, but it's very erratic. You sort of don't move for a while and then you move a lot, and then you don't move for a while and then you move a lot. Whereas Mackenzie, to simulate more players at the table, just slowly ticks along 1 step at a time. And then it comes back to me. I play another turn. So I do not have any horses to spend, so I can't use his ability just yet. I have no resources, so I can't even come here and get horses. But it's always useful having these cards in your hand because you can always use them on the other side to power up your other cards. I will probably get some resources, shall I? Let's do that. Let's get some lumber. And I think I'll power up my lumber, so I'll send him with my lumber dude. Or, because that would only give me 1 lumber. So now when you produce resources, you check these symbols up here. So that gives me 1. That would give me fur. That would give me fur. So for instance, if I were to play this card over here, that gives me fur, like so. I would then activate it once, but I would get 1, 2, 3 fur. And again, these little arrows here show you that you look to the players on your left and right as well. Now in a solo game, I don't have players to my left and right, so that is simulated by these little tokens on the board. So anywhere there is a worker on a space with one of these tokens, you add that icon to your production when doing these standard resource actions. So I need to work out what I actually need and whether it's a good idea to play it now. So you'll see this guy over here has a 2, which means he has a power of 2. So if I use him to power up another character, they will do their action twice. But he is also my only way of recruiting more workers. I should probably use him, go out there, get some resources, then use him and get them back. So there can be a huge amount of forward planning in this game, where you sort of work out 4, 5, 6 turns ahead and then execute your plan one step at a time. Okay, let's do this. I'm going to send this guy over here. He's going to get me 2 lumber. So when you come here, you can get 2 lumber or 2 fur. I'm going to take the 2 fur, boop, boop, onto my boat over there. And I don't have enough stuff to recruit anyone, so that is the end of my turn. I've done a main action. Alexander Mackenzie will move. And you can never have 2 characters occupying the same space. So now he wants to move forward 1 space. Because I am there, he will jump forward 1 space. So stopping just in front of him there probably wasn't a great idea. And the same works in reverse, which again, you will see how that works a bit later. So if you're moving backwards and you land on a space with someone else, you jump backwards 1 step. Okay, so my next action, I want to get these guys back so I can get some more resources. So I'm going to play him, and I'm going to play him with him, I think, because I'm probably not going to be getting all those horses later. So that will activate that once. And when you do this action, you take all of the workers that are on the board, you put them into this powwow area in the middle. You recruit as many as you want onto your boats. So there's no limit to how many you can take. You can just take 1 if you just want 1. Or you can take all of them, which is what I'm going to do in this instance. And the reason you'd want to take less is you'll see this little sun symbol here. That affects you when you make camp, which you will see once I've played out all of my cards. For every resource in a sun symbol space, you are going to move backwards on the track, basically simulating having a large, slow, ponderous expedition. You're going to slow yourself down and you can't make camp quite as far along. So this character here represents your scout. This is the guy that's running out. This is, in my case, Nathaniel Pryor. So he is rushing out and scouting the land ahead. But if your expedition is too big, then you can only make camp as fast as your expedition can move. So if it's too big, it's going to move very slowly, and your scout is going to have to come back to the camp at night. We then add a new worker to this space over here, and there is a limited pool of these. There are more of these in the box, but you only have 6 of them available to you in a solo game. So I started with 1 on my board, we started with 1 there, and then 4 off to the side. Then the final step on this card is to discard the last card in the row and slide all the others down and reveal a new one. So that's also a way to replenish this stock, and you want to think about that when you play this card. If there's someone here that you really want to get, you probably don't want to play that until you've recruited that person. In this instance, that works out in my favor because I was wanting to recruit him, and he just became a little bit cheaper. He now only costs 1 fur to recruit instead of 2. So Alexander Mackenzie moves again, and I go again. Let's see. I want some equipment, and I've played my card that gave me equipment because I wasn't thinking ahead. So I will send a worker over to there. I will get 1 equipment and 1 lumber. Boop, boop. I will then recruit this guy. Or do I want to recruit him? Because I've got enough fur. He might be more useful. He lets you spend 2 wood and move 1 through the mountains, versus a horse and a fur and move 3, but that's the equivalent of basically 4 resources, because you have to spend 3 to get a horse, and then you have to have the fur as well. And lumber is a lot easier to come by. I'm going to recruit him. So I'm going to pay 2 fur, 1, 2, and 1 equipment, adding him to my hand, and then everyone else slides down. Those go back to the supply over there. That was my optional action, so now I still do, no I don't, I did that, so now Alexander Mackenzie moves. And this is one thing in this game that you have to keep an eagle eye on as you are playing, is to make sure you remember to actually move him at the end of every one of your turns. It's quite easy to get lost in the flow of just playing turn after turn after turn, and oh dear, I forgot to move him 3 or 4 times. So that's something to keep a very sharp eye on. Okay, so he's not going to be useful just yet because I'm miles away from the mountains, but I'm glad to have him for later. What to do, what to do? I haven't got a clue what to do. I suppose I could go get some boats. That's probably a good idea. Let's do that. I'm going to play this guy to get some lumber. And then I'm going to power him up with this one, because he's not going to be useful for a while yet. So now I'm going to get lumber. I'm going to get 1, 2 lumber. I would check on the board here and see if this guy was on a space with lumber here. That would be a 3rd lumber. As it is, he is not. So that will give me 2 lumbers. 1, 2. Now I could power that up with him and get even more, but I don't want to do that because I want to send him off to convert that lumber into a boat. That is the end of my turn. Mackenzie moves along. I go again. I'm going to take this guy, plop him there, spend 2 lumber, get 1 boat. Now if I had multiple workers here, I could send all of them there at one time. It's not 1 worker per turn. I could send numerous there and spend 4 or 6 wood and get 2 or 3 boats. As it is though, I only had 3 lumber. And again, end of my turn, he moves along. So it might look fairly hopeless because he's just chugging along, chugging along, chugging along. But remember, when I use this boat with him later, I'm going to rocket forward 4 or possibly more spaces. If I can get a second boat and play him with a power of 2, maybe with this card over here, then he will move 8 spaces in 1 move. So your scout can move incredibly quickly. It's your core of discovery that is the slowdown. Now I've got 2 guys left in my hand, and now I can choose to play them if I want. If I were to stop now, I can choose to pick up all my cards right now, which represents me making camp. But if I do that, you move backwards along the river 1 step for every character you have in your hand. So this little sun-moon symbol here. Versus if I play one of them, let's play, what am I going to need more, fur or food? Food lets me move along the river with him, but fur lets me recruit more people. Let's get some fur, because I want to recruit him and you need, well, I maybe want to recruit him. So I'm going to play those 2. Okay, I'm going to get 1, 2, 3 fur. 1, 2, 3. Which spills over into my second boat over here. So you'll see your boats get progressively larger as you go and progressively slower as well. Because now I'm going to make camp. Basically, if you have no cards left in hand and no workers on your board, you have to make camp. You're forced to do it. It's not a choice. And right now, I will move backwards 1 day because you move backwards 1 day for any resources in this boat. So 1 or 3, doesn't matter, you move backwards 1 day. I would then move backwards 1 day for any characters left in my hand. So had I not had an even number of characters, you can end with just 1 left in your hand with no workers to power it up. Again, you would have to then make camp because you can't play 1 card just by itself. If you have used workers to boost any of your actions over here, they come off the board and onto here. If you have more than 1, you move backwards 1 day for every single one of them that is on this boat, which is where upgrading your boat with these little extra canoes can come in very handy. But as it is, I only have resources here. So my boats are a little bit weighed down. I picked up a big supply of furs and they're sort of creeping along the river. So we move our scout backwards one day, boop, and then move the camp marker to where you ended when you made camp. And then pick up all your cards. So that was technically the start of my turn. I haven't taken a turn yet, so we don't move him. You pick up all your cards, and now you have all the actions and options in the world. So I probably want to try get some more lumber to get another boat and then play him with some extra power. Okay, if I get lumber now, I'll get lumber from there. So I think let's do that. I'm going to play my lumber guy. And I'm going to boost him with my fur guy, because I've got loads of fur. I'm not going to be needing that for a while. Or you'll see that they all have the little color in the corner, which shows you what their color is there as well. So if I flip this card over, I get lumber from that card as well. But I don't really want to do that, because actually, let's just see. If I do that now, I'll get 2 lumber. That would be enough for 1 more boat. Actually, I'm not going to do that just yet. I am going to play this card to do some recruiting. I'm going to play it with this guy, because I'm not going to be in the mountains for a while, so his action in the mountains is not going to help. So I'm going to recruit. Everybody goes to the middle. I take as many of them as I want. In this instance, I'm still going to take all 3, even though if I make camp, these guys slow me down. I'm hoping to use them out here, get resources, spend the resources, and then make camp. We then put another guy here. We discard this one, so if I really wanted him, there goes that opportunity. But he just got cheaper, and I'm thinking he might be better. We shall see. And we reveal a new one. Okay, that was the end of my turn. Alexander Mackenzie moves along. I'm trying to build up to a point where I can do a big jumping move for you. So let's see now. Okay, I need 2 equipment for him, so I probably need to play my dude that gives me equipment. So let's send a worker there. I'll get a lumber and an equipment. I now have enough to get another boat. I've got the 2 lumber I need. That's the end of my turn. He moves over. Then I will get some more equipment, and I'll power that up with my fur guy over here. Like so. I get 1, 2, 3 equipment. So I take 1, 2, 3 equipment. Then I'm going to spend 1 fur and 2 equipment, or let's actually see what else we have here. Because I've got enough fur to afford all the way up to this card. So this one is spend 3 different resources and move 5 on the river. That's pretty cool. This is spend 3 lumber and move 4 on the river. So that's actually better. And this one lets you spend a resource and get any 2 resources of your choice. I think I like this one. Yes, let's get that one. I'm going to spend 3 fur and 2 equipment. So you'll see the equipment cost stays the same no matter where they are. It's just the fur cost that diminishes. That goes straight into your hand. Ooh, he's nice. He lets you spend 1 wood and get a boat. That is very useful. Very, very, very useful. End of my turn. Mackenzie moves along. I am then going to send a dude over here. Pay 2 lumber. Again, I could send both of them there, but I don't have 4 lumber. So I'll spend 2 and get a boat. And that's the end of my turn. He moves over. Then I'm going to play this guy with... yeah. Okay, so I'm just going to play this with this so that I go twice. I'm going to pay 2. Now remember, I could also play it with a single and power it up with this guy. which might be better. Let's actually do that so you can see how that works. So I'm going to play it just once. I'm just going to power it up once with a card and then once with a helper. So it's going to go twice. That's leaving this card in my hand for possible use later. I'm going to spend 2 boats and I'm going to rocket along the river 4 spaces. My scout is scouting at a pace. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Nearly caught up with him. Okay, that was my turn. I don't have anyone here. I don't have enough to buy anything there. I am done. He moves 1 space. Boop. I'm not going to be able to get the 3 resources I need to play this card because I have to play that with one of these, and one of these can only give me 1 of the resource types I need. So that's going to get tricky. I'm going to get bloated down with a whole bunch of stuff, and my scout is going to come all the way back, and I'm going to make camp. I could just make camp now, I guess. Move backwards 3 spaces. Or if I use one of these and get some resources, let's do that. Okay, so I'm going to use one of these. I'm just going to go once with them. Do I want lumber or food? Let's get some food, I think. Food can be useful. Although all these things out here need lumber. Let's get some lumber rather. Yep, we'll do that. Okay, we're getting lumber. 1, 2, 3 lumber is what we're getting, because that's only powered up once. 1, 2, 3. And then I have no way of playing this card because I have no workers here. I have no cards left in hand, so I will make camp, which means I move backwards 1 because of the card left in my hand, 2 because of resources in this boat. 1, 2, move my camp marker to there, pick up all my cards and go again. And I think I'm going to stop it there. That should give you a really good sense of how the game flow works. You're going to keep on optimizing your turns, playing cards, getting resources, and so on, until somebody eventually gets to Fort Clatsop. And in the solo game, that's very likely going to be Alexander Mackenzie, unless you play very carefully. Now, one benefit to the solo game is you really can plan your turns ahead as long and as far and as carefully as you want, because there's nobody else at the table telling you to hurry up and take your turn already. So you can procrastinate and plan and refine your actions as much as you please. And there is one way that you can scale the difficulty of this solo mode, and that depends on where you place Alexander Mackenzie at the start of the game. So in a multiplayer game, everybody here just starts in St. Louis. However, if you're playing solo, you'll see that the river goes back past St. Louis. So to make it easier on yourself, you can start Alexander Mackenzie as far back as off the river completely. So basically you can start him anywhere from 0 to 7 steps along the river. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So if you want a hard game, if you've played it a few times and you're feeling very confident, you can actually start him 1 step ahead like that. Or if you're just getting your feet wet and you're figuring these things out and you don't particularly enjoy losing every time you play, you can start him all the way at the back here, and each time you play and you get a bit more confident, you can just start him a little bit further along the river with each subsequent play. And with that, I shall say thank you ever so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the show. And remember to spread the joy of tabletop gaming.